Hey, I want to talk to you about the critical response, hopefully give you some ideas that can carry forward into the critical analysis. I've graded them all, and overall, I think most of you should be a bit pleased with your grades. They seem, for some of you, to be a little higher. For many of you, they're right pretty much where you've been. And for some of you, it was less. Now, I want to point out the grade that's listed is a number out of 125 points. If you want to know your percentage, just do a little bit of math and you can come up with it. The scores ranged from a low down, had a few down in the 60s, and I had one that was a 99%. They were kind of all over the place. I was a bit discouraged. It seems to me that some of you could have done better, and part of the reason you didn't may have been that you weren't following what you needed to. There is a schedule, and it is logical and in order. I gave you introduce the assignment, and everybody saw that apparently. I don't know who's seen it, but I know how many have seen it by the records. And then some of these others you looked at about the critical response, some ideas about the soulmate myth. That was to try and clear up some misunderstandings. Some of you gave me misunderstandings I cleared up here. Did you not watch the video? Ideas about the critical response. That was a little bit more there. And then a little bit about misunderstandings and context in the soulmate myth. A number of people made context errors where they were quoting something that Bonnie Christian quoted, saying it as positive when it was negative. She is not a fan of cohabitating or trying to find out about your mate through cohabitating or getting your own act together and all that sort of thing. And some of you misunderstood the quotes, and I was hoping to avoid that. And this in particular was discouraging. I know how many students I have, and based by the counts of who went here, fully half of you did not look at this. Had you looked at this, I think you could have prevented some of the mistakes that you may have made. And there were some common mistakes. First of all, I wanted to point out you were given, give me just a moment because I'm juggling multiple screens. I know it looks lame. This sheet, I told you what you needed to do. I told you how many words it needed to be. A number of people turned in papers that were well under 500 words. Why would you do that? The content, I told you exactly what you needed to do here, and it's very clear, and you should have read that. And logical sequencing of ideas, unified coherent paragraphs, that should have been a given. The reason it should have been a given, now the rest of these other three are basic writing things, and you are the composite of your whole life, and hopefully you know what kinds of editing you should be doing to make these better. But this one here I gave you. You should, if you followed the suggestions, have done this for sure. And some of you had incoherent paragraphs. Some of you did not give me a summary. Now, in one of the teachings I gave, and I reviewed it in the revising video, I pointed out it's cheesy, but the chart works. If you looked at this chart, and I explained it to you, I know that it's handwritten, it's bad. I could have done better, forgive me. I'm not a tech guy, but I am a writing guy. And I told you how to structure this. I said, okay, you have a summary. That's all it was to be, was a summary. And yet some people launched into, in this paper, I'm going to tell you how I feel about Bonnie Christians. You don't tell us how you feel in the summary. You simply present main idea, major details. I had a number of people not give me enough or give me things that did not belong. Then in the body, there should have been 3 paragraphs. And if you'd done just what I told you, you could have more than 3. I had some people giving me 2. What's with that? If you presented clearly the author's point and then your response, you would have a unified paragraph. Same thing here and here, and you could repeat it as often as you wanted. Now, all this not only would this give you unified paragraphs, but the goal was to accurately present what Bonnie Christian said and completely explain your response to it. And some of you, by not following this especially, wound up basically writing about the subject of cohabitation and or the soulmate myth and not writing really in response to the actual article. All that criteria was given. I explain that because the upcoming assignment, or the one you've hopefully already launched into a bit if you're following the schedule, is a more complicated paper. And you better follow what I'm giving you, and feel free to send me some emails and question things if you want. Now, within this particular paper, I saw a number of problems. Again, people didn't follow the criteria. People didn't write summaries that were proper summaries. I need to get rid of this because it just looks ugly. Let's look at something prettier. There, that's better. And then there were other issues that took place. People misinterpreted what she said, etc. There was also among some of you more plagiarism, literally, than it should have been. You can't just write down words that are in an article. A number of big hits I found were the phrases foolishly romantic, take a microscope to your partner's whatever, meld themselves together, durable commitment, absurd pedestal, defer marriage indefinitely, serves no practical reason, and regarding the soulmate, quote, you most certainly would most certainly never find them. Those are the author's exact words, and there are others. You can't do that. You must, in presenting the author's ideas in the coming paper, change the wording and or quote. A few of you quoted a bit much. 10%'s it. Most of you, that wasn't a problem. Some of you in your quotes presented quotes that misinterpreted the original. Often Bonnie Christian was referring to something that she disagreed with as a quote. And some of you thought she was giving advice. They certainly put those your potential spouse under a microscope. She's not advocating that. But there are a number of problems with that. And I encourage you with the coming assignment, carefully go through. You need to read the textbook too, because how you apply some of the concepts comes up in the actual text. If you don't understand ideas pertaining to evidence and logic, etc., you won't be able to write about them. So keep up with the assignments. All the answers are there for you. Go through just as it's sequenced. If you want to work a little ahead, I'm cool with that. That's fine. Now, regarding this particular paper, you will see your grade. Oh, I want to mention there are a few other things. A number of people insisted on referring to Bonnie Christian as Bonnie throughout the article. I've told you not to do that. You introduce her whole name in that first sentence, and then after that it's Christian, not Bonnie. And a number of you referred to her as talking about this and that, and that's not the best word. I've told you that a number of times. So please follow. In fact, I mentioned that in the revision video. There is a revision video for the critical analysis, plus a lot of other materials to guide you along the way. So please utilize those. It's discouraging. I was encouraged that it seems like pretty much everybody looked at the first critical response video. Good. A bunch of you fell off the wagon, and most of you still turned in a paper without looking at the revision video. What's with that? Remember that writing takes time, and all of us write poorly with a rough draft. And if you give me a rough draft, it won't reflect the kind of grade that you want or the kind of writing I prefer to read. So please give attention to these matters. I ask you, look at your paper, look at your score, and then if you haven't looked at the revision videos and others, look at those items, and hopefully you can identify what went wrong. I'll be happy to give you more feedback on your paper. I could even, if I need to, scan it for you and send it back. I'm not doing that in mass because it is cumbersome. It's cumbersome enough opening all these emails and trying to grade. But if what I've also found, to be honest, is most people, they don't want feedback, don't need feedback, and they're not going to take feedback. I mean, it's kind of cynical, but it's true. I've written the same things over and over on papers, and people continue to do them. Now, if you're concerned and you really want to improve, I can work with it. Send me an email. And again, I've sent out instructions. Emails are great. Send me an email. Tell me what you want. Also put your phone number on that. I've had a number of excellent phone conferences. I'm not giving you my phone number carte blanche because I don't need to have a lot of people calling me weird times and putting me on their little message strings, but I'll be happy to talk to you. I'm here to help you if you're serious, but you must use the materials. Go through the videos, read all the materials carefully, and give yourself to it and try and work at least on time according to the schedule. If you can work ahead, even better. And carry on with it. Make it good. Again, you can turn in papers a day before the actual due date if you wish. Prior to that, if you give me a paper, I want to send an email back asking me what you want me to do with it. It's not due. And I'm a big believer in taking as much time as you can, because it can always be better when it comes to writing. So hopefully these thoughts have some merit for you and are beneficial. If you need anything, you know how to do it. Email me. Tell me what you want. Put your phone number and best times to call you. I may even call you. I might just send you an email back. Let me know what you want. I will mention this Friday is Good Friday. It's a holiday. I will check occasionally email then and on the weekend. But during the weeks, I'm right here pretty much by the computer. Pretty much 8:30 to 4:30 in case people need me, busying myself with whatever needs to be busy. So let me know how I can serve you. In the meantime, be well, stay out of trouble, practice that social distancing, and know that we'll get through this. God bless you. Bye.